Alright, evening folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here with a spicy D&T deck list, courtesy of Connor Fulse, aka Lomer Boy. We are playing Black-White Death and Taxes tonight. We have three main deck black cards. We have Bob, we have Eliminate, and we have Plague Engineer. In case you're not familiar with Eliminate, it's 1 and a black to destroy target creature or planeswalker with CMC 3 or less. Most of the classic D&T stuff is still here, but in order to fit in the black cards, you'll notice that there's been sort of a culling on numbers. So, 3 Mother of Runes, 3 Stoneforge Mystic, 3 Thalias. So a lot of these are like traditional 4-ofs, and that's like kind of a sacred number. But if you want to try to fit in splash cards, you have to make cuts somewhere. And this list has respected the flex slots that are traditionally in the deck, while still keeping the 24 lands. So kinda, this isn't really Dead Guy Ale. So Dead Guy Ale tends to play things like Hymn to Turok, and Dead Guy Ale is often a Chromox deck as well. And this isn't really attacking from that angle, so I think we're still very clearly in the, like, Death and Taxes ballpark. We're still the Aether Vial Mana Denial deck that just happens to play a couple of black cards. Skyclave Aberration, the new card for D&T, essentially. Like, it looks like it was specifically built for this deck, is something that I have really complicated thoughts on. Apparition, sorry, Skycloud Apparition. The card's good, just like full stop there. But it's going to do really weird things to the deck and deck building that I think I'd rather talk about for an hour to an hour and a half rather than like try to intersperse it while also doing gameplay. So Tuesday, I'm going to record a podcast episode, and I've already okayed the topic with the others. We're gonna talk about like deck building and how adding a new card to your deck changes the approach to your deck, and I'm gonna focus around that card. Yeah, it's I have a lot of thoughts. They are complicated. I'm playing that card, but beyond that, like I'm gonna have like a lot of show notes. Um, yeah, but like it has my seal of approval. Like this is the most excited I've been about a white card since Brightling. I think is probably the best way to put that. Like the card's very strong. It is going to fill a needed role. Yeah, but like the card's not perfect. Like it has its own issues, and I'll talk about that. Yeah, Brightling was 2018. That is correct. So this is this is the best card for D&T since we got like maybe like Palace Jailer, Recruiter of the Guard level cards. So like it's been a hot minute. God, I miss being able to play Brightling. That was one of my favorite cards of all time to play with. Like the games are so interesting. Like Miracles versus Brightling, like so fun. Yeah, Brightling had its like 2 months in the sun where it was just like one of the best things you could be doing, and then the meta shifted black, and it was like, oh, this isn't good anymore. Damn it. Fuck you, Garmag Angler. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that I, as an individual, am entirely at fault for the Brightlings spike. Like, that was me. But, like, God, that card did some fucking work. Like, it just clocked in. and like wrecked Rug Delver while also being great versus Miracles. Jupe, thank you very much for the continued support. And then like the meta shifted to where people were playing Gurmag Angler and like Red Prison. I do not have a good hand versus Red Prison. Fuck. Fuck. So right here, this is the cost of playing another color in D&T. Notably, our opponent has set themselves back on mana as well. Fuck me. Alright, we're so dead. Yeah, it's when we draw a scrub land, one of the 8 fetch lands or however many I'm playing that I. Well, damn, this is an opener. I'm okay if I draw a white land in 2 draws because then I can revoke this. That's a strong draw. Herg! Oh, this transfer just gets to hang out forever. Okay, there. That would have been a plains. I mean, it's going to be impossible to like not look at this league through the lens of a new card that's coming, right? Like that card just nukes damn near everything that's playable in Legacy. Not everything, but like real close. Elevator going up. Get in the red zone, guys. Guys? Guys? This is going to be a boring game that I probably lose, but like I have a Palace Jailer and I'm drawing 2 cards a turn, so I can't concede. 3 basic lands, I think. Ooh, I get to do a point of damage this turn. That's nice. Artifier that's under here is, so I should revoke that next. Or should I just revoke Karn? Or revoke Chrome Mox? Assuming this is like Nathan's list or something that looks like it, it's probably correct to just do that. I have so many bad cards in my hand, I can discard cards at random and it's okay. This is also like a 3 or 4 of. Got multiple bridges now. I could have so many planes. Oh yeah, I love 6 mana Chandra so much. I don't think it's nearly as good as it used to be, but it does work. How many revokers do I have? Can I revoke Karn too? No. SCK, thank you very much for subscribing. The support is... Sorry. Bleh. The support is very much appreciated. Alright. So, like... Now their Planeswalker is back on. They can use that to redeploy whatever, like, 4-mana card is in their hand. Or just use it to deploy that. That thing ultimates next turn, and then I'm dead. Okay. We're done here. So we had 1, 2, 3 lands that would have been basic planes in a mono white deck. That's fine. This is fine. These are probably fine. Four planes, not 3. 4 planes. Got all the black cards. Leave 1 Plague Engineer so I can search it up for goblins reasons. A lot of the Red Prison lists are on fewer goblins now. I can probably get away with trimming or cutting Swords to Plowshares, but if my opponent is playing Magus of the Moon, this is something that gives me an additional out to that. I probably like trimming that. I don't cut it, but it's not like the old days where you're dealing with 8 Rabblemaster effects every game. That's just not as common anymore. I think I'm going to roll something like this. So normally D&T can just like totally ignore the Blood Moon side of the equation, and that's just like so not true here. Kuneros, the lifelinky dog, is something that I don't think is playable unless you have mana acceleration. So it's sometimes one of in the boards of a deck like Loam, and that makes sense because they have like Mox Diamond to accelerate it out. And if I don't have access to Chrome Mox or something like that to turn that into a turn 2 play, I don't really think that card's playable. Like your Graveyard Hate needs to be like free or like have some other upside in Legacy a lot of times. So like the upside of this one is that it's tutorable and it also mucks with some decks like Show and Tell. And Lunaros as like a 3-mana soft graveyard hate card is pretty eh. Yes. I'm keeping this hand purely because it has access to white after a Blood Moon. Given how hard we got branched by Blood Moon in game 1, it really would not surprise me if our opponent mulligans to a Moon effect. 100% of the time I'm fetching a plains. I'm just going to do it now. Alia is indeed back. That is how the bribery works on this channel. I don't think I want to show this blind. I think I want to show this. And now there's a very real question of like which piece of equipment do I get here? They all have their merits. Ensnaring Bridge is easiest to deal with if I have Jitte, so I'm going to pick up Jitte here, even though it's kind of the worst piece of equipment in this matchup in a vacuum. Wow. One must have a good 3-mana play or something. Wow, if you were going to Spyglass the Jitte anyway, I don't know that that was worth Bone Crusher Giant. It's really good. It kills everything in my deck. I don't think I have any X3s in this build. Yeah, SCK, that card's very good. I'm going to talk about it at length on the Eternal Glory podcast next week. Ooh! Ooh! I think I'm just going to pick up a Flicker Wisp or a Palace Jailer here. Sanctum Prelate is also interesting, but I want to play Sanctum Prelate on 4, and I want to play as Gideon first, so like that's kind of awkward. I think I'm just going to pick up a Flicker Wisp. It offers like Flicker Wisp Recruiter Chains for a little bit later on, which are really cool. Damn it! My Gideon! Oh, my turn again already. This makes it hardest for my opponent to blow me out with a Fiery Confluence. They have to have like Soul Land that they've been sandbagging plus Spirit Guide. Yeah. You haven't done anything to deserve this. Connor, though. Connor bribed me. Uh, an interesting deck list. I think it's pretty sketchy, but Connor seems to like it. I haven't played any taxes in a few weeks, so like I don't mind whipping this out. This hand sucks, but it has access to white-white, assuming that I can fetch once, so that's good enough to keep. We only have 4 basic planes in the deck, so I think I have to be a little bit picky with opening hands. There goes my Rishadan port. A little rough. Unless they name Mom. What? 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 But but it's right here. It's right here. Like, all right. I'm gonna go ahead and tap down the thing that gives them more mana. Now are they gonna shut off Rishadan port? Ah, now port's an acceptable name. Get to flicker roast this chalice onto 0. That's cool. One way that their hand makes sense is if their remaining 2 cards are, or their plays make sense if their remaining 2 cards are Red Land and Chandra Awakened Inferno. This is a boon, drawing that extra land. Gonna clock in at the office here. Do some good, honest work. Yeah, best friend Tabitha. If when they made the first Sorcerer's Spyglass, they have, yeah, they're just done. They have the second Spyglass as well as another Soul Land. I can see it, but like they also just had a bunch of lands after that. So opponent was very dead there. In case you were wondering what I was going to do next turn, we Council Judgment away this, we port them off the red source again, and then we just swing 7 twice, and they're dead. They know that line is on board, and concession makes sense there. All right. Well, hopefully we see some upside of the black cards in the rest of this league. Um, in most metagames, I haven't usually been a fan of a black splash. I played at a competitive level. I've played every splash except blue. Like I've mucked around with blue splashes on stream multiple times, but I've never registered a blue D&T. list for a major event, whereas everything else I've submitted for like serious high stakes events. Played green a bit in the Miracles era. Tried out some things like Carpet of Flowers. Tried Noble Hierarchs before. The time where I was playing like a Noble Hierarch build that also included Sword of War and Peace, and that was just like a super aggro build. Played a lot of red D&T. There was about a year where I was pretty convinced it was better than mono white because it let you grind out games really well with P and K while also giving you some free wins with Magus based lines. Yeah. So like imagine how much safer this opener feels if this is a basic plains. Your pithing needle results. Classic. Some sort of depths deck? I'll try to sandbag the Caracas for a turn or two. I will turn this mother sideways. You can't stop me. Played a 1/1 for 1 mana. Good rate. This card's probably very good. We'll tap it for black mana. Oh man, opponent's Urborg fixes my mana! Opponent's deck is so good. Jig is up about the whole Caracas thing. Cool. So now we have something that lets us go to above 20, which is super important, and we also have like 2 things that can kill a Merit Lodge. I'd like to draw another land. That's not another land. Are there any lines that kill me this turn if I equip Jitte? Yes, if 2 of opponent's cards are Simian's or Elvish Spirit Guide and Crop Rotation. Otherwise, I'm very safe. I have like Swords of Plowshares as well. Yeah, we're crashing in. Out of this world, maybe. Out of this world hit abilities too. Whoops! I think it was an error to do that in the first place, because I have Caracas up. But that error was pretty bad. We've got another one. It's fine. Fine. They kept their original Dark Depths instead of their copy of Dark Depths that had no counters on it. That will hold up. Swords to Plowshares. Is there a reason to play Mom? If I play Mom, it's easier to... Yeah, there's a reason to play Mom. Easier to have lethal next turn if something weird happens. Okay, so it can counter an ability. So I don't think I Swords to Plowshares. I think I go to 2. Then they're just like dead. Yeah. Rite of Consumption would kill me, but that's like so uncommon as a main deck thing that I wouldn't even play around it. We're not going to get to sideboard much for this matchup. So opponent can have Plague Engineers. I'm assuming that opponent has green in their deck. Like, they acted like a mono-black deck that game, but, like, I'm assuming that there is green in there. Like, that's pretty much always the case. I mean, face, back in the day, Bob was the entire reason that you splashed. Like, you occasionally played other cards, but you like jammed 4 Bobs into the list, and like that was black white DNT essentially. Panzer MTG, thank you very much for following. Hope you're enjoying the DNT action. So like there are cards that I can sideboard in. Like I can sideboard in Council's Judgment to have more stuff. that answers a Merit Lodge or a Plague Engineer or something like that, but like it's kind of eh. But a lot of my cards are kind of eh. Like Eliminate is not particularly useful here. I can keep one Plague Engineer to have it in the deck as something that I can tutor up to kill Bobs or something, but like, eh. Assuming that they have green, I could keep Eliminates to kill Elvish Reclaimers, and then I can keep Swords to Plowshares. But like normally you're looking to board in things like Path to Exile that like just aren't in this deck. I don't know. Like maybe I can drop a piece of equipment. Equipment isn't particularly great here. People want to eliminate. And that costs me basically nothing to do so. Sure. Yeah, things are going well on my end. Teaching is really weird right now. Things are largely good. There are some things that very much are not good, but like you take a deep breath and at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. Like there are a lot of kids who aren't showing up for like live classes. And does it suck? Yes. Are they getting a worse education because of it? Yes. But if they're still doing the other work, yeah, you know, uh, it's a weird year. Very different from the spring, where it's like in the spring everything was just kind of like we'll do what we can. Now like this is full time. Okay, do I source the plowshares this? Or do I just play Ether Vial? Like letting them tutor once with this is pretty bad. I think I'm just going to take this, and if they have a weaker opening hand, this does a lot of damage. The Source of Plowshares is maybe not going to survive like Thoughtseize caliber cards anyway. As this game goes long, and this game is going long. Urborg is the punish for not holding up Wasteland this turn. And that would be very punishing. I think I am comfortable doing this. Like this situation either smells like crop rotation to me, or it smells like I have Urborg plus Hexmage. I don't think this year of school is a throwaway, but I do think that this year will be less valuable on average by quite a bit in comparison to a more normal year. I have an awkward staring match here. Dr. Chinstrap, thank you very much for following. And there are like various technology-based issues that are also a thing as well, where like some kids have a better home environment in terms of like internet speed and resources and whatnot. Like those differences are very much being felt right now. I think I'm just supposed to hold up all of my mana. Playing out Stoneforge or Crusader doesn't do a ton in this turn cycle. I would like to tap your Thespian Sage. Would you like to respond? Would. Do I respond now? No, I don't think I do. I think that just occurs. All in all, I'm very happy with where this left us. Opponent might go like Dark Depths, Hex Mage, create a Merit Lodge, but short of that, I feel like I came out ahead here. So I have two choices here. I can either get a Bob and become better at answering what my opponent is doing, like draw into answers that beat Merit Lodge, or I can get a Stoneforge here, pick up Jitte, equip Jitte, and go to above 22. Both lines are very strong. I think if I get a Jitte and then put Crusader in the following turn, my opponent is going to die very quickly. So I lean towards just closing the door on this game while I have an opening. There are a number of things that are like harder with teaching right now. Like it's harder to connect with the kids, especially if you're building relationships for the first time. Um, is my opponent dead next turn? So I check for 2 this turn, putting them to 17. I will have 2 Jitte counters. Represents 4 initial damage. I hit my opponent for 6, putting them. No, sorry, I hit my opponent for 8 actually, because the Thalia hits too. My opponent will be dead next turn if I just go for Jitte equip and my opponent doesn't produce a Merit Lodge. If my opponent produces a Merit Lodge, can I kill with just Crusader? 6, 12, 13, 14 damage. 15 damage with Stoneforge and Thalia being blocked? No? There's a world where I just double port them. I just port them, attack for 3, put in Crusader, just continue to attack until Crusader plus Jitte is lethal in one go. Yeah. Let's spend some time at my sister school, Port U. Enjoy your content, by the way. Then check out the video that will go up tomorrow. I was doing math for if if a Merit Lodge was produced, which could block the Thalia. So go no there. Council Judgment is nice to clean up if things go wrong. Do I take one? Just hardcast Jitte and do one more point of damage this turn? Sure. No. I want the black that doesn't cost me life. Don't think I want to use Jitte counters here. We'll just hold those, and then like Crusader on its own is very much lethal next turn. There's a world where I want to gain 2 there because of Krosan Grip. We have gotten the GGs. GGs. I think a opponent was playing a deck that they don't usually play from what they said to me in chat. The depths style matchups are often pretty good for D&T, but they're by no means a buy. Like with Caracas, Port, Wasteland, Swords, Mom plus Flyer, Flicker Wisp, like you have a lot of tools to muck with what they're doing. You're much more equipped at dealing with a 2020 creature than most decks. Sure. Are you losing some? No, like we're somehow winning. Although admittedly I don't think we've played against the best decks so far or anything. We're not we're not facing down 2019 2020 dot deck. Unforge? Or just play another vial. The other vial doesn't really do anything right now. Could later. Basic Forest Pass is probably not elves. My opponent's playing an Abrupt Decay deck. It would have to be something like Nick Fit. This isn't a snow deck, so it's probably not blue. I think I'm just going to play this and let this game develop. Oh, the lag. Yeah, Cloud Post is reasonable. If our opponent is playing Cloud Post, then, like, we have access to a wasteland. Post deck, look at the avatar. All I'm saying is, like, I feel like my call of this is an Abrupt Decay deck was pretty good. Yes, Harry, totally. The new spirit thing is real hot. I think we're just going in. You wanna decay this vial? Oh yeah, I'll use it. I'll use it. I will. Look at me use it. I don't think I'm gonna fetch the black here. I think I'd rather have stable mana when I don't really know what's going on. Like opponent could be something like, I don't know, Jund. Okay. That is interesting. I don't know exactly what opponent is up to. My guess is that it's some sort of green-black X stacked deck with like Chalice, Trinisphere, Loam. I've never seen Mishra's Factory in a Titania deck, though. Got an Assassin's Trophy for me? Nope, just dead. Uh, so we're maybe playing against Sylvan Plug? But again, the factory is a little weird there. I want this. I think I want this. And some of this stuff might be good. Like, opponent could have something like Pernicious Deed. No, Pernicious Deed doesn't make a lot of sense alongside Chalice. God, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna trim one of those. I'm gonna trim this because I don't know what number to put it on. I know that much. I'm gonna assume that Sword of Fire and Ice is not great. I wonder if I don't even like board the needle. And I just like basically present the same deck I did for game 1. Yeah, Harry, but I don't know if my opponent also has like blue and there's Okos in there or some shit. Like, eliminate can't be that bad, right? Like, it surely must target something in there. Deed's really slow, and it doesn't answer planeswalkers. Like, right now, like, even your Delver decks have Oko, so, like, Deed not hitting walkers is kind of a huge deal. Not the board wipe that it used to be, since it doesn't answer that. I am indeed. I'm a little bit of a sleepy boy, but I am playing D&T and doing well. Yup. Sounds fine. Not good. Just fine. Opponent could still be Nick Fit and give me basic planes too. Sorceress Spyglass. Fuck. Alright, we're probably not gonna Wasteland against the active life from the loam. Yeah, the original channel name was Death and Taxes FTW. Oh. Ox, Decay, Lily. Okay, so we're playing against some sort of green-black Pox deck. That makes more sense. John de Pox. Sorry. Well, alright. We're gonna maybe do some reevaluating of the old sideboarding after this game. Oh, they gave me black mana. Don't play. Alright. That's, I guess, okay. I'll discard this Swords to Plowshares. Not, it's not doing anything anytime soon. This is almost good. I think I like trying to play at instant speed with my Vial, rather than trying to hardcast the Bob and put in the Thalia. Like, one of those things is just, like, so much worse against, like, a sorcery speed card like Smallpox. The Wasteland cometh. Yeah. So now there's, like, basically literally no way that I can cast his Council Judgment the entire game, which is really awkward. I think I'm just discarding this. Just act that the other way, but, like, I know I'm ticking up anyway. Well, that's a basic white source. So that's the good news. I know, Lord Darkview, I know. Only it was that new card that's not out yet. Oh, the position we'd be in. Play Recruiter, get Revoker, revoke this, attack for 2, figure out what to do with my life from there. I don't think I hit that. Things can go wrong. Things can go very, very wrong. I guess it's technically correct to fetch this and leave up the wasteland. My opponent's probably going to hit the port anyway, but I need my opponent to not have like a Plague Engineer caliber card. That's real important. Even Mishra's Factory is pretty bad for me. No, I do not want to add black with Windswept Heath and get my plains wastelanded. That does not sound good. F. Dead? Feels like that's probably the point where I'm dead. I'm going to continue playing here entirely just to see more of my opponent's deck. Like, they're likely to mill 6 to 9 more cards before they actually kill me. And that information feels really important to me for sideboarding. Like, is this red solely for Clothis? Like, that's the sort of stuff that I need to know. Or, like, is there Punishing Fire bullshit in there too? That's not bad. That probably just gets discarded, but if it doesn't, and I draw any land, it looks pretty good. Ooh. Well, that's fine too. Don't do it. I have a family. Hey, Bailey. Hope all's going well with you. School's real weird right now. I I will admit that since I have 69 viewers, I'm very surprised that you didn't just come in here and say nice and then leave. It's low-hanging fruit. I'm so dead. Just like onboard dead. Opponent didn't mill more cards there, so. I gotcha, I get you, Bailey. Okay, let's just sideboarding. Prelate, Needle, Cataclysm, Sword of Fire and Ice are more reasonable than I thought they might have been. So, like, Sword of Fire and Ice is something I can use to draw cards to get out of Liliana soft locks. A lot this is going to prove difficult to beat. Rest in Peace would be real good against this deck, but I don't think Leyline is good. Probably don't need that. I don't know, maybe I can't Cataclysm versus the Life from the Loam Planeswalker based deck. Maybe that doesn't work. Something of that ilk is probably right. It's hard to tell what to do with the Cataclysm. Like, it's very good against the Planeswalker side of the deck, but my opponent is also a Wasteland Recursion deck when I only have 4 basic lands, so getting to 4 mana and then keeping mana after that is pretty hard. I think I'd play Cataclysm if I had Rest in Peace, but without it, it seems eh. I might play one more Eliminate for Liliana, and then trim a Swords to Plowshares. Swords to Plowshares are nice against the Mishra's Factories. Eh. This hand kind of does nothing, but is too good to throw back. Like, I don't have the cards that I'm looking for in this matchup. But, like, if I go Vile Go, and then my opponent thoughts uses this Stoneforge, my hand is super poopy. Hey, Echo, welcome. Feels kind of like opponent has Abrupt Decay. So do I get them to Abrupt Decay a Revoker so I can keep Vile, Mom, and Stoneforge alive? Yes, probably. Oh wow, just F6 there. Box Diamond. Harry, you'd be surprised. I don't think we've cast an eliminate yet. Play Sword of Fire and Ice here. If my opponent has um, something like a Thought Seize, like not putting a piece of equipment into play this turn is pretty questionable. Oh no, I boarded that out, didn't I? No, I boarded it back in. We're not going to attack because of Liliana Last Hope. Uh, Give me something I can wasteland. No? Well, that's a fine draw. That good against Pox deck? Unclear. Okay, so we each get our big cool card. I suppose that's only fair. Or I think my big cool card is going to kill faster than your big cool card. This is also a great insurance policy. I think I like fetching to thin here. We're going to get a lot of extra draws over the course of the next 4-ish turns. That like 0.7% increased draw quality over 3 or 4 turns might matter when I'm drawing 2 cards a turn. Whew. Excuse me. Opponent is taking mana. Going to attempt to double spell this turn. Discard Vial. Discard land. I think I'll discard Vial. Get Light from the Loam or something now. Plague Engineer. That resolves. Assuming that I'm going to find things to do with my mana, I am just going to eliminate that. Like, creature plus equip in the same turn cycle is kind of important. Similar to before, I'm going to go ahead and get those out of my deck. Pick up the Batterskull here. Equip this sword so things like Toxic Deluge become less good. choice in there. I didn't think about it. If I'm being honest. Yeah, so this spot's obviously better if I wastelanded them. Big fan, but that was just mean. Agreed. So I was thinking about their Klothys and how that gives them mana, so like I wasn't super actively thinking about Wasteland. Hey Dungeon Shade, welcome. Oh yeah, I mean it's been a great league. We're 3-0 and we're like very handily winning this. Sorry, we're 2-0 as of right now. Yeah, we got the GGs. GGs, friend. Yeah, so now formally we're 3-0. All right, I'm gonna take a second and just rehydrate. I am a thirsty boy, full thirsty for the 5-0 and for some of that sweet, sweet aqua. So I will be right back. I'm gonna run an ad real quick. Whoop. Ugh. I'll take just a second and stretch a little bit. My office is a little warm, getting a little sleepy. Don't want to make boneheaded mistakes. Like I missed a really easy Wasteland play that game that I should have gotten. Five O hype? I hope so. It's been a while. I have not put up good results with most decks recently. But like, I'm only playing 2 Legacy Leagues a week right now. Like I'm playing much less Magic than I used to. Much of my time these days is going to Monster Train just because I'm enjoying that. You a fan of sports? Not traditional sports. I really enjoy watching some fringe stuff. Like, I will absolutely get drunk and watch a bunch of curling, for example, and I will be all about that life. But as far as like traditional American sports go, I will watch almost nothing. Yeah, so like whenever there's I think this one goes back borderline since it has the port. Hello and welcome. I'm gonna think about this hand for a second, and then I'll go back to some of the questions in chat. This is a really weird hand because if this eliminate was a creature, I would probably keep this hand. Like Vile is a really stupid magic card, but like this is a do nothing hand that tries to buy a lot of time with a Rashad port. I think my 6 card hand is just going to be better than this. Yep. I need to make this mulligan decision as if this Vile resolves and lives. And if that happens, what one of these cards do I not want? Probably the second Stoneforge. Like if the Vile resolves and lives, I want to have a variety of different things that I can do rather than redundant copies of one thing. But like, holy crap, I am screwed if my opponent just like Force of Wills or Force of Negations this Vile. Pithing Needle. Fuck. Don't do it. Don't do it. I have a family. Uh-oh. Could be elves. Yeah, I'm still a teacher. Teaching remotely is real weird this year. Back to the sports stuff. No, I don't watch UFC. Like, in a given year, I'll watch like a Super Bowl because it's a chance to eat good food that everyone has made. Enjoy that a lot. In an average year, that's probably the only sports game that I watch, unless it's an Olympics year. And then I'll like maybe watch a little bit of fencing, a little bit of curling. Every once in a while, I'll watch some of like the skiing or diving or something because it looks kind of cool. But sports content doesn't really appeal to me. Oh God, here we go. All right, opponent's gonna have a good turn. I'm gonna just F6 and let them do their thing. I got nothing. I have a plague engineer for turn 4. Um, yeah, but growing up, most of my sports-based hobbies were usually like really fringe stuff. So, like I fenced in college, I did medieval combat in high school, I did frisbee golf for a long time as well. That's really good. Great hand from our opponent here. Um, I did basketball for a couple years when I was in middle school, but like it wasn't really my jam. Yeah, disc golf or frisbee golf is a lot of fun. It's like such a low entry cost hobby too. Like you can go deep with it just like you can any hobby, but like generally speaking, you can spend 20 or like $15 on a good frisbee and like that can get you started with it. I mean, I have a lot of potential tips for virtual teaching. The the biggest one I'd say is that you should just go into everything with a really open mind and don't play or sorry, don't try to teach everything in the same way with the same expectations that you have during a normal year. Like everyone is realizing very quickly that this year is like a very different animal than a normal year. And a lot of the things that we thought we could do, we can't. So the medieval combat I did wasn't technically offered through the school. It just happened to be held in a park across the street from the school, with no official affiliation. But meeting times were immediately after school ended, so you know, like I am very much a strict and rigorous teacher. Like in a normal year, I'm a zero late work sort of guy. Like that's just the way that I roll. And this year it's like, yeah, turn in your work for up to a week late with no penalty whatsoever. Like it's okay. However many problems you think there are going to be, there are more. And there are going to be a lot of problems that you never even thought of. And it's just like, oh, I guess I should have thought of that, but I was the president of my fencing club in college. That doesn't mean I was good. Like we had a very small fencing club, like probably 20 total members or something like that. And the person who originally started up the club punctured a lung, not from fencing. He got drunk and fell down some stairs, but that kind of left the club with no one to run it. So I kind of took it up because I was having fun with it. And I might be able to steal this game. Like, there's hope for me. These Elvish Reclaimers are real good here, though. This is so hot. Elf. All right, we got two. Now we can potentially connect with a Jitte next turn. Fencing is like really tiring. Like a lot of sports are, but fencing is the sort of thing where like where you're when you're doing bouts and like actively are engaged in them, it is so draining. Like I'm a small man, very skinny. I don't tend to sweat a lot even when I work out. But like when I'm fencing and I'm in that getup and I've been like fencing for an hour, I am disgusting. All right, your Green Sun resolves. Presumably going to get something like a Wirewood symbiote that you can like bounce and negate Jitte counters. Makes sense. There's a lot of Elvish Reclaimers. I assume that I'm going to activate Flickerwisp, bounce Wirewood, and then be good. equip to Stoneforge and do what is probably going to be a suicide attack in. They can fetch and then untap Dryad Arbor, activate Hellish Reclaimer, and turn them into larger creatures. They have to see that line. Then I'm going to have a flyer the next turn anyway, though. I think that's fine. I kind of wonder if they were supposed to sacrifice the Dryad Arbor there, since I'm going to get Jitte counters this turn. The Natural Order is the big card that is going to beat me this game. I'm not really in a situation to stop Natural Order yet. Like, my opponent will have 2 Elvish Reclaimers, Gaia's Cradle, 2 Forests. So, like, I can't take them off of Natural Order next turn with what I have going on here. Oh, interesting. No block. That is surprising to me. Maybe if they have the Natural Order, it just doesn't make much sense for them to block. So I'm not just dead to a Natural Order, I guess. It's a good chunk of damage, but it doesn't kill me, and then I have, like, good stuff going on. That represents a Dryad Arbor, though. There's a lot of Elvish Reclaimers. The Newton Elves list that we're playing against, so to speak, is much better against Plague Engineer than a normal Elves list. Traditional elves like pretty rarely kills on turn two. Turn three is something that's much more reasonable. Now does a natural order kill me? No, natural order sacrificing that Dryad Arbor might do it. Take. Oh, that's awkward, isn't it? So 12 plus 7 is 19. So I also have to block with the Wisp here. Right? Everything tramples. Oh god, that's so awkward. Go kill that. I don't want the map to be like this. Like, ah. 12 plus 7, 19. I am at 19. So I do have to block again. Alright. We're gonna block this one, just to be different. I'm gonna be so salty if we still lose this game after all of that. It, like, sure looks like I'm going to. Man, if this vial was one higher, I'm, like, so good. So I can attack with Stoneforge. It probably blocks. That effectively puts me to 5 life, which deals with one of these. I chump block another one of those, and then I die. Dark View, then I wouldn't have gotten Jitte counters. That seems like a big deal. I have to bluff Flicker Wisp. Yeah, I am much more tired after a day of remote teaching than I am after a day of traditional teaching. Like the remote teaching is easier in a lot of ways, but it's just more draining. Like it's more time looking at a screen, it's more time in a grade book, like that sort of stuff. Like there's more, emailing parents and kids to be like, "Hey, you missed another live session." There's a lot of that sort of stuff where it's just like not the most satisfying work. Oh fuck. All right. Everyone's a 5-5. Nope. They saw the line. They got me. Ugh. Like we had Plague Engineer plus a removal spell plus a Jitte and it wasn't good enough. Rough. Alright, let's play another Plague Engineer. Let's play a Needle. I'll probably eliminate. I will probably do this. I can play Council's Judgment for a potential Progenitus. I have to think about that one. I don't like Palace Jailer versus this deck. They just go wide of you. Reaple Chief, I'm not sure that I understand your question. Oh, Connor, Lomer Boy, donated for this. If I go Thalia's out, that leaves me with this configuration. And now the remaining question is Council's Judgment specifically for Progenitus better than other cards that are still remaining in my deck? Borderline. Like I could board out the third piece of equipment for one of these. But like against every card that's not named Progenitus, Council's Judgment is like really not the card that you want. I'm already sitting at 21 bodies, so I don't want to cut another creature for it. And like if Jitte gets answered, it's not the worst to have another piece of equipment that can be removable. Game 2, unfortunately. I think I'm going to submit. Ah. And has a turn 4 Plague Engineer if I want. And can stop Wirewood Symbiote based hands. And has 16 white sources to become very good. Don't feel good about this keep. But like we didn't win game 1 with what I considered to be an absolutely stellar situation. So I think I'm gonna high roll this hand to try to hit planes like Swords of Plowshares and Initial Elf, wasteland them or something, and maybe cool stuff happens. All right, I'm in. Since I have Stoneforge in hand and I know that I'm going to have access to Jitte, I think I just want to shut off Wirewood Symbiote now, because it's one of the easiest ways for my opponent to blank my Jitte. Lanes! Planes! Planes! I know I'm doing that much. I think Swords to Plowshare is the line this turn, but I don't know what to Swords to Plowshares. Like Swords to Plowsharing Reclaimer shuts off Cradle and makes Birchlaw Ranger and Heritage Druid worse. Well, I only have 2 mana. I can't kill something and port. Yeah, Vile and Cast Jete is fine, but if opponent gets like Aquarian Ranger, then like doesn't look great. I mostly want to slow my opponent down as much as possible. Because my Vile is really strong. I think I like Swords to Plowshares the Dryad Arbor. Stoneforge, get Jite. I can then like cast Jite, maybe Wisp out a Cradle if my opponent doesn't do anything with their mana in this turn cycle. They also like might not have the 3rd land. I already removed 1 Dryad Arbor before. So like in worlds where they don't have another land, they don't get a Cradle. Land would be real cool. That still probably qualifies as real cool. It gives me so many options for this turn. I think I'm trying to connect with Flicker Wisp in the air next turn. Or alternatively, like Plague Engineering. Like if my opponent just plays more fat creatures like Elvish Reclaimer, then it becomes much less good for me to yeah, sure. That's a vanilla 1/1 right now. Yep. Less good without a Dryad Arbor around. Plague Engineer. I'm just gonna get Plague Engineer. Is there any reason why I should not immediately put this Plague Engineer in response to that fetch? Like, I don't know if there's a third Dryad Arbor or something weird there. Oh, good God. Suicide in the Recruiter, then Wasteland Bayou. Just eliminate Elvish Reclaimer, then Wasteland them might just be better. Like, not get super focused on this Jitte. Like, the Jitte just kills Wirewood Symbiote. Sure. Hmm. There's a world where I am supposed to Flicker Wisp out like a land or an Elvish Reclaimer here to play around land in a natural order for Progenitus. Just keep that from activating in this turn cycle. Also denied a mana. Alright, opponent has just full on given up on his emerging resources. I mean, we still have to win another game. Now, on the draw, do I want answers to Turbo Progenitus? I don't really know that I do. Like, if I get Progenitist, I get Progenitist, and I probably lose most of those games most of the time anyway. So, like, my opponent, like, both has to get Progenitist, and I have to have Council's Judgment in hand at the same time. Hand is not great. I might mulligan once to try to find something that has better access to a Plague Engineer. This hand is too good to throw back looking for Plague Engineer. Yeah, I know. We're actually doing well. Like, we're putting up a hell of a good fight versus elves. Opponent's hand is bananas. I think I'm dead next turn. Why not Cataclysm? Elves tends to rebuild faster than D&T. That's essentially why. Alright, opponent has turn 2 natural order this time. Fine. I mean, it's not fine, but it's happening. Like, you know what I'm saying. The Dark Confidant would have been the card that I cut for Council's Judgment. And now I don't have outs to this. That's fine. We would not have drawn one of the two Council's Judgments anyway. So, like, if I have 24 lands, and, like, 4 of those have already been used, and I cast a Cataclysm on turn 4, let's assume that I also pulled 1 land out of my deck. So I have 19 lands remaining in the deck, and I really need 3 mana to operate. So on a lot of the, like, Vile hands, or the non-Vile hands, it's like, they will rebuild faster than you do, even if you, like, end up ahead 3 or 4 cards when the Cataclysm is cast. Yes, I was keeping Sanctum Prelate for Natural Order specifically. Prelate is a low-cost card to keep in the deck when I want to cut Thalias in the first place. So, like, it costs me very little to keep Sanctum Prelate in. Like, it's real sketch on the play, but, like, so is our entire deck versus elves. Do I just revoke it blind? Like, do I just, like, revoke Arkham's Astrolabe and just say, like, deal with this? Probably not. They probably have a second land. I'm gonna save this for, like, an Oko. I don't think this is, like, so valuable that I want to do my only thing that ends, like, use my only thing that currently answers Oko to stop that. Tempting as it is. Bornea, thank you very much for the continued support. Take a Batter Skull here. I already have Mother of Runes to protect it from shit like Icefang Coatl. And I have a lot of stuff to do with my mana later, and I really just want to have a good next turn. And Batterskull is the thing that provides the most immediate pressure versus Oko. It's the thing that I'm least sad about if it gets elked. Yeah. Going to be playing fewer copies of Revoker in this deck moving forward, that's for sure. Not zero, but fewer. Probably one. That's where I'm at mentally right now. Keep it as a tutor target. Keep it as a card you can play on turn 2 sometimes. The first build I play will have 4 of them. Like, overtest the card, see how good it is when you push it to an extreme. And then I'll probably play a more reasonable number. Like, I probably end up playing 2-ish of them, but like, start by testing 4, back it down from there after you get a feel for what it actually does in matches. 4 main. Like, that's where I'm starting. I don't have the answer to that problem yet, Reaple Cheap. I'm gonna figure it out when I go and do the podcast. Like, I'll sit down and actually craft some lists and stuff, but I don't have time to do too much of that sort of stuff during the day right now. Sure. I mean, show me that Swords to Plowshares. I'll bite. Boredom. Sword Equip, thank you very much for the continued support. Up to 20 months now. That is rather impressive. Let's pick blue. Doesn't really matter because, Astrolabe. If someone has the new apparitions spoiler handy, would you throw a link to it in chat? That would have been a great point to draw a fetch land. I guess not. Like I can just poke it for one. But like I really want to be casting some of this white stuff, especially my Palace Jailer. Like Flicker Wisp to reset the Batterskull is real good. I don't think I want to just Revoker blind. I could bounce the Batterskull. Yes, D&T will certainly be more fun with that card around. That's for sure. Like, you're going to have more games where you can actually answer the bullshit your opponents are doing instead of just folding to it. Oh, show and tell. The Flicker Wisp is better against Omniscience, and Palace Jailer is better versus a big dumb creature just being put in. Um, a weird spot. So I put in if they put in Omniscience and I Flicker Wisp it, I maybe stop their turn. On my turn, I can revoke Grizzlebrand. If my opponent has Omniscience, I'm not sure that I actually beat them. Like, I'll just lose to it the following turn. I don't have nearly enough pressure even after putting in another creature. So I should put in one of Revoker or Palace Jailer instead. Revoker's better versus Grizzlebrand, Palace Jailer's better versus Emrakul. Alright. Damn it. Okay. This is a very weird build. Alright. you Glittering Wish for what? Okay, I don't really know how I die. I could Source the Plowshares in response to that, but I know my opponent has Force of Will, so like, not gonna do that and give them more life to work with. That'll do nicely. We can stop there. Okay, so what do I want? Deafening Silence seems good. Pithing Needle for Grizzlebrand is okay. Council's Judgment probably doesn't do anything, but maybe does something. Same with Containment Priest. Plague Engineer to stop Icefang Coatl is a thing. It can occur. I don't really know how to sideboard here. Like, opponent very much has a brew. Plague Engineer, sure. Alright. Maybe go down on the equipment package a bit. My opponent's probably not going to show and tell on a creature most of the time. I don't think I'm going to play that. I'm going to play another Eliminate. I'm going to go down the Swords to Plowshares. My opponent's playing Plague Engineer, maybe cut creature. That's a human. Maybe two. Eh. Very awkward to know how to sideboard for this deck. Like, it's a brew. There's a bunch of like Snoko style bullshit in there in addition to the show and tell based combo. So seems hard to evaluate properly. But this is probably good. If my opponent's land was portable, I would not cast this here. But it's not, so I'm going to expose this to Force of Will. Yep. I think it's just too important to try and cast that card there and knock them off balance. Like, I either get a 2-for-1, or I have a critical hit card in play. I'm good with either one of those scenarios. Okay. What does Glittering Wish get? Oh, I could have anything in there. Even Cruel Ultimatum. Golgari Charm. That's fair. Thalia port you? Play that game? Probably buys me 2 turns, which works towards Palace Jailer. They also like are not guaranteed to be able to cast a Golgari Charm. Like they don't have appropriate colors currently. Oh yeah. We're going. Oh god. Fuck yeah. Believe this is what the people came for. Feels like 2018 again. Right, 10 next turn. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Play Revoker, file in Palace Jailer. 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So I could have gone aggro there and not ported, and I don't really think many things punish me for that. Yeah, let's try to do that again. That was cool. It's also just like an exceptional draw. You have like Spell Pierce in there too? Oh, okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, so we didn't play against like Rug Delver or Oko the entire league, and I enjoyed myself. Weird correlation there. It probably doesn't mean anything. I like the look of that. I like the look of that a lot. Oh, they found the fetch. I'm gonna be really blown out by a Plague Engineer if my opponent has one. I think my opponent has too many Revoker targets for me to just play it blind when I already have some threats on board. Um, we just Swords to Plowshares that, give them 6 life, and not have to deal with that body later. That's awkward. I think I'm gonna do that. The follow-up being ram a Palace Jailer down their throat as hard as I possibly can. Two Force of Wills have already been used. This is pretty likely to resolve. They show until I put in Deafening Silence. I mean, that's a Golgari charm that'll be annoying. A Pernicious Deed. That's something that Phyrexian Revoker hits. Oh god, I think I get to get this Misty Rainforest too. I'm gonna cast this Pithing Needle, they're gonna leave their Misty in play, hoping that I don't name Pernicious Deed, and then I'm gonna revoke. Oh, I saw the line. Pernicious Deed. Done. I think at this point I throw the Deafening Silence in play over Vile. I have a lot of like slightly annoying things, but nothing that's actually all that good at the end of the day. So that one will get a Golgari Charm. That one will get a Golgari Charm. For a snake? For a snake. We name Snake pre-combat so that I can safely attack in with Mother of Runes. Right, Mom can be leaving and that's fine, but I would like to push one more damage while doing it. Like, I'm not really favored as this game goes long. I want to close the door in as few turns as possible. Because, like, eventually my opponent just draws show and tell and I die. They go to 10 this turn after they Golgari Charm, presumably. So there was a world where in my pre-combat main phase I was supposed to draw a card with Silent Clearing to see if I draw exactly Caracas to save the Thalia, but they probably Golgari Charm in response to that. Do I play out both of these creatures here? Versus like, so cost me 1, 2, 3 mana to play out both of these. I think I'm just supposed to cycle this. Another port? Okay. That does stuff. Port them twice, Violin Mom. Attack for 5, attack for 5. Kill in 2 shots. I think I like it. I have such difficulty here knowing what I should port. Taking them off of white takes them off of a Teferi. That one's easy. I think I'm just going to take them off of both of the ancillary colors here. But I don't know what the card numbers are in their deck to like know whether I'm playing around like 1 Teferi or 3, or whether I'm playing around like Oko or whatever. But like allowing that Pernicious Deed to not hit play this turn seems good. Oh yeah, nice. 2 mana draw card. I believe it is correct to crash 5 here. I wonder if this is bait, like I'm taking it, but I wonder if this means they need their black or green mana more. Yes. Holy fuck, this Plague Engineer has done work this game. That should be the win for me. They can't cast another non-creature spell this turn because of Deafening Silence. Going to have 7 damage on board. Icefang Coatl can't jump block. Nice! Wow, I did not expect to win that match. That one feels good. Let me rehydrate here. So that was actually a really fun league. We didn't get O-Code, we didn't get Rug Delvered, we just like played good old-fashioned Magic. I actually got to do Death and Taxes things while playing Death and Taxes, which has like almost never happened. Whoa, hold on. Let's not say D&T is back. Let's just like not go there. But I don't think that's the case. Like we very much ran well as far as like pairings tonight go. The Plague Engineers and Eliminates were pretty good. The Bobs did minimal work tonight, but that doesn't mean they're bad. Yeah, like we beat Omnitel. Omnitel, which is like nice, and like we did hit elves, and like we lost to elves. Like surprise, surprise. But like losing to elves was much more pleasant than losing to Rugdelver. We need to open chests to celebrate. All right, Pat can have one chesty to celebrate. Ah, Benelish Commander. That's a lot of text on that card. It must be powerful. Costs 4 mana. Stars on it. It's got to be a strong one. 35 play points though is a pretty good rip. We'll call that a win. Yeah, so I liked Eliminate. It was actively good, despite being a little awkward to cast. The Plague Engineer was really nice utility to have. I don't know that I'm like sold on this list or anything, but like Plague Engineer was worth its weight in gold this league. Like stopping all of the like it stopped 2 Icefang Coatls. It probably killed somewhere on the order of 8 to 10 elves, like maybe even including some that weren't cast at all. Like Plague Engineer did a lot of work in this league. There were a lot of cards that didn't. Like we never cast a Sanctum Prelate in this league, but part of that is because like when we had the option to tutor up the 2019 card, we just like do it. Like that's how Magic works right now. You can play the new cards you usually do. Um, I don't know that the mana base is worth the Plague Engineer in a large sample size. Like we got paired against Red Prison and our mana base was just like torn apart by Blood Moon. And if we got paired against Delver, we would have had considerably more wastelandable cards than normal. And like that's very much a concern, as would something like Back to Basics. But right now, like with where the meta's at, I don't think something like this is crazy. Like the list felt good. If we got paired against something that wasn't elves, like a 5-0 might have been realistic. And we had more game against elves than I imagined we would have. I'm still not sure about Leyline of the Void. Like Rest in Peace is such a good card against Rug Delver that like I really want to have access to Rest in Peace. And I don't really know that I want to be boarding in something like Leyline of the Void there. I guess if you're playing a pile of eliminates in addition to Swords to Plowshares and you also have Plague Engineer, like maybe you can get away with not hating on the graveyard. This deck was much better than I expected it to be. Like I'm always skeptical of splash D&T builds that I get, but this one felt pretty good tonight. And from a Loam Pilot, of course he had Leyline. Yeah, I mean Leyline's a great Magic card. Totally agreed.